Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to continue with the Sagittarius season, and I decided to do a reading for ENHYPEN Sunghoon, since I believe that it's his birthday, or either it already passed or it's about to be. So yes, and then eventually before this year ends, I'm going to start with the 2023 predictions for the boy groups and girl groups. So yes, we're going to do a mix of that. Because then it's going to come the Capricorn season, and we do have a lot of Capricorn idols, so definitely I have to, split my time. So yes, let's start with the cards that he got. He got the Chariot, the Moon card in reverse, Nine of Wands, Six of Swords, and the card of Balance. So I think that this is actually very positive reading for Sunghoon. Definitely, probably entering his season, like the Sagittarius season, is allowing him to break free from, probably this year has been a bit like dull, like boring for him. Like I don't like it wasn't a negative year, but it was a year that I think that probably for him personally there wasn't much going on, but instead he's more like looking forward to the future. This is very Sagittarius like, actually, to look at the horizon and to be a bit like more like excited to see what's to come, but definitely he has new projects that probably you're going to find out about them next year, or the beginning of next year. So, but I definitely sense that these new projects is going to allow him to move his energy. Somehow he had been feeling a lot apathic this year. I don't know much about ENHYPEN activities. I know they had, I believe they had a comeback. I don't remember exactly, but I think that since this reading is for him only, I believe that he has another, like another goals personally, for him. He's very focused on that. So I think that this is going to be a greater project, like something a bit more exciting, and he somehow is getting ready for that. So I definitely see him like moving forward, putting his energy. And then we have the Moon card in reverse. So, trying to somehow overcome this feeling of not knowing exactly how to feel about certain things. I think that there's something about Sohon's energy that I do get, that he is a bit of a mystery for people. I don't know, and actually I'm surprised because he is a Sagittarius, but somehow this is why he gets the moon in reverse. He's very well aware that it's really hard to get to know him for real, like he does have a sort of armor, and actually he's a very sensitive guy. I have the feeling that also he's very intuitive, but he is not that intuitive or psychic or anything in the way of, oh, I have dreams, I have premonitions, I have a strong intuition and thoughts and feelings about things. I think that he's much more of the guy that he feels it with his body. Somehow he enters a room and he feels it in his body, in his whole being, probably in his skin. He feels like when the environment is good or not. And somehow he does have this ability. This is why he's very selective about who he opens up with. And this is why I think that somehow he does enjoy to be a mystery to others, because he knows that he is in an environment where people are not who they claim to be. You know, we are talking about the music industry, we are talking about appearances. So even though he is a guy that he's very adventurous, actually he's a goal-getter. Like, he does have enthusiasm for moving forward. He has like a very strong vision about who he wants to be in the future. There's a part of him that he keeps a secret. You know, he does have very strong boundaries between who he is as a person, and that as a person, I believe that he's someone that he always likes to navigate in uncertainty. This is why I think that the moon card in reverse is like, it's not that he's a mystery, it's just that he doesn't know himself yet. And probably he does have knowledge. It's just that he doesn't like to be like labeled as this one thing. And probably this is why it's hard, even on camera, it's hard to guess accordingly to his body language what he's thinking or feeling, because actually he's very contradictory sometimes, and people just love to make like conspiracies or theories about why he is the way he is, but actually he's just like that. He's a challenge. He's a challenge for people. I think that he does love to challenge the system. He does love to challenge people's perception of him. It's like, you know me? Oh no, you have no idea. And I think that this is, you know, then we have the Nine of Wands here. Again, boundaries, you know, like, okay, like I'm doing all the hard work. Like, yes, I'm putting my body, my passion. Yes, we had worked really hard to be here. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not going to fake sweetness or politeness if I don't feel like it, you know. And I think that this, again, we have to go back to what I always say about fire signs idols, you know, idols that have sun in fire signs, you know, Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. Probably Leo is a bit more adaptable in the sense that they love the spotlight, but they tend to be like controversial at the same time. But in the case of Sagittarius idols, probably they do challenge the idol system, or they do have like a lot of behaviors or attitudes that a lot of people question why they are the way they are, because they cannot, like, it's like, oh, but aren't you supposed to behave this way since you are an idol? Well, Sagittarius idols, they tend to be a bit like, oh yes, today I'm very sweet and I'm very loving and I'm flirting with you, and tomorrow I'm just going to diss you, or I'm going to be a savage, and I'm going to be very straightforward and a bit blunt, and probably I'm going to get into trouble because of my big mouth and because of how I say things, you know. So fire signs do struggle a lot with fame, especially fame in the K-pop industry, because, you know, there's certain rules and etiquettes that probably an earth sign or an air sign or a water sign, they tend to like adapt to that more easily, and just, you know, shape shift depending on what the audience wants of them. But in the case of Sunghoon, I believe that he's a very true Sagittarius. He's a true Sagittarius in the sense that there, at least for 2023, you are still going to see a bit of boundaries coming from him. Like, definitely he's going to be working really hard in 2023, probably being very busy. So you're going to see him feeling a bit annoyed and maybe frustrated, because actually he's going to be moving around a lot and probably like having a lot of activities, including the groups and his own. And then probably like traveling, you know, traveling a lot, like probably like doing a lot of like moves, you know, oh, I have to go here and then there and coming back, you know, a lot of movement for him. So I think that probably, you know, to be moving around, to be traveling, is going to allow him to actually feel a bit at ease and not so frustrated, because he somehow needs a change in his routine. There's something here that he needs to move. And also, since the Six of Swords is a card that I do associate a lot with the internet, and it's also next to the Nine of Wands. It could possibly mean that also in 2023 there's going to be the possibility of that there's going to be rumors or a cancellation or a misunderstanding online, or people like creating false rumors, like there's something's going on, like also in the internet for 2023. So this is why he gets this Nine of Wands, this very strong energy of like, I'm tired, like I'm exhausted, like can't you see that I've been working in a lot of stuff, like I don't have time to play your games. I don't have time to listen what others are saying of me or thinking about me. Like I don't have time. I'm busy. So yeah, he's a guy that he's not very talkative, but he definitely shows you with actions who he really is. And then from the Oracle of the Chakras, he got the card of balance. So I think that definitely, there's something about Sunghoon that I always called him the leader of the group. And I know that he's not the leader. People had told me that he's not the leader. I believe that, I don't know, how long has ENHYPEN been around? 2 years, 3 years? I don't know. But ever since they came around, I always was like, Sunghoon gives me these leader vibes, always, because he's very determined, and it's like people does respect him. He does have this, he's a bit like there are some parts of him that I'm like, oh, it makes sense why he's not the leader, because somehow he's a good role model. It's like you can learn a lot from his attitude and from the way his work ethic and how he works. So probably he's not very good at communication and just like, like creating like a great environment for others, because he's very focused on accomplishing things. So he's not very diplomatic. But here with this card of equilibrium and also balance, I think that definitely you can sense that he is somehow the balance in the group. That he is the one that actually keeps the group steady. I think that this card, if you pay attention to the picture, actually there's a guy, like he's like in standing tall, and he's holding the scales, and then you have these three people on the bottom, or at the bottom of the picture, that they are like crossed arms. They are very on denial. They are refusing to look at each other. They are mad. They are frustrated. So I think that somehow, I wouldn't say he's the peacemaker, because it doesn't work that way, but I think that with his firmness and somehow with him also being very blunt, he brings this sort of balance to the group. When everyone starts to be a bit stubborn or a bit like petty or even childish, because I sense that there's a lot of child behavior, because actually they are very young. He somehow, probably he has this posture of like, okay, I'm not going to take anyone's side, like you know what we have to do, so somehow he's a very strong influence in the group, and I think that he will continue to be this way, to be this guy that it seems like, like I said, he doesn't say much. He's not a guy that he's going to talk and give them huge speech about why they should be the way, like trying to give a lecture to people. But he's the guy that, okay, let's cut the BS and let's get back to work. Like, okay, we are facing, like, we are not getting along, or we're facing issues. We have a problem here. We have to fix it. Like, let's get back to work. Let's not get caught up into the small details, the small differences, the drama. Let's behave. It's about being a man. There's something about him also being very masculine. Very like, okay, like, I'm a man of action. Like, I don't know why you keep talking about this, why you keep like mumbling about this. Like, I don't want to hear anything, I just want this to be over. So he somehow like puts in these boundaries, like, okay, I'm not wasting my time here. Probably he's the more mature one in this sense, and it's not like he's telling others what to do or how to do things, like, oh, you should be like me. No, he's much more like, with my attitude, with my boundaries, I'm showing you that this is not the way that I'm going to do things. So he's very wise. He's very wise, and I think that he's going to continue this 2023 being this balance for the group. So I think that definitely he's a strong influence. He's going to keep being this strong influence, and also he, not only for his group, I believe that for everyone he associates himself with, he is this balance. People tend to be amazed actually at the level of, it's like he's very cutthroat. He is very like, okay, let's end this. Like, I'm not going to let this prolong for so long. Like, come on, I'm over this. Like, I'm moving on. This is why he gets the chariot as the first card. He's moving on to the next thing. He's not stuck in the past, nor stuck in the present, about the who she said, he said, like, he's not about that. He's more like, okay, what can we do to be better? And let's get this over with. Let's get back to work. So yes, very admirable. So yes, guys, this is all I have for him. I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you're a fan of him and you would want to leave me a feedback about him, I would appreciate it very much. So thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.